So many of you folks may not know this about me. It's very unlikely that you do, but I'm actually a closet foodie, and I really am, and I have moderately good cooking skills. You can ask my wife. I do okay. I have a handful of things that I can do very well, and then every now and then I try something new, and usually I can make a palatable, whack at it, and it goes pretty good. Kind of have a little bit of an intuitive sense in the kitchen, I think. And I'm really looking forward to the day when I actually have my kitchen outfitted with the fully operational gas range, and all the great cookware. So I'm working my way towards that. Getting there. So I was excited when this book came up in our lineup. Now this is not a cookbook. This isn't just a cookbook, folks. There's some unbelievable recipes in this book, but it's also helpful kitchen hints and tips on how to throw a party, and just really priceless information and reviews, letters from people talking about different recipes, and lots of little stories about each recipe. So a very enjoyable read and a fabulous cookbook with some great recipes. So I'm very excited about it. It's titled Not Just a Recipe, and definitely more than a cookbook. Its author has been a food columnist for over a decade, sharing recipes from across the globe and from inherited family collections and over 500 newspaper columns. The book itself contains a surplus of delectable recipes, and she's got these letters from friends and fans she's created over the years of her writing this column. It's a delicious read with something for every palate. And this book, its author afforded this culinary closet dweller a real glimpse into the world of food enthusiasts, which is much, much larger than I think I realized. I know there's a lot of excited people on whatever cooking channel or whatever, but I didn't realize that there was all of these hidden food nuts all over the place. And it's great to read how excited they are about their cooking. So here to tell us a little bit about that world and her book is author Pat Jackman Altomare. Let's give her a big hand, everybody. Well, welcome to the show, Pat.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Great to have you. Now,
it's my pleasure.
Let's talk about food. This is going to be good. Let's see. Let's start with one of your all-time favorite recipes.
One of my all-time favorite recipes is about 5 generations old, and it's called Just a Minutes. And it's actually cinnamon pinwheels, which is done from leftover dough from making pies. And this, my grandmother did, great-grandmother did, my mother did, and she taught me. And now they don't want me to do pies anymore, they want me to make Just a Minutes. And the recipe's in there.
I noticed that is early on. It's early
and the
on
picture is on the book.
I see that right here then. Okay.
That's one of the oldest recipes that in my family.
Speaking of your family, I would love to be able to, I wish I was a part of your family. Your family reunion sounds absolutely fantastic.
It's wonderful. And
Yeah.
the last one was in Conway. And my sister and Mike put that on, and it was actually 4 days. And for a family reunion to last 4 days makes it fun.
Yeah.
We had such a wonderful time. But in our family reunions, and most family reunions, everybody brings a dish that they make that is a traditional dish. And it's just a wonderful thing to be able to do that. So they picked recipes. My nieces and nephews would pick recipes that were made by their grandmother or an aunt, and bring these dishes to the family reunions in some antique dishes.
Wow.
It
Yeah.
means a lot.
And there was some really nifty little tricks that you had for that event, setting up a wine station and a coffee
Yes.
station, and then assigning people to man each station so that they were always stocked and there was no need to go searching for a glass.
Exactly. And it was important to me to put this in the book because I think these are wonderful tips
Oh, absolutely.
for a lot of people that
Yeah.
are having family reunions this summer. And I myself learned a lot from Lorraine.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Now, it doesn't sound like there's TVs and mobile phones and things like that happening at this reunion. There was neat games that for the children to play and
Yes,
all that sort of thing.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
It was fabulous.
Yeah.
We had a storyteller come for a couple of hours in the afternoon so the children would have a time to rest in the shade and do quiet things, besides just run around with water balloons and
Right.
try to get you soaking wet.
Yeah.
There were just so many ideas that
Yeah, it's
people
not-
can take.
And some of
from
those
this.
people participating in the water balloon fight were not necessarily planning on that.
We weren't planning to be soaked.
Right. It just sounded like so much fun. I really wish I could have been there, but in a sense, I got to be there because you shared it so well in
Yes,
the book.
yeah.
Some great stories. One of the other ones that comes to mind, the apple cake at the wedding that was sort of an apple-themed wedding.
Yes, it
Some
was.
fabulous ideas for a wedding party.
It was held in an apple orchard.
Right.
Way out in western Mass. And that's where there are so many orchards, but I had never been to a wedding in an apple orchard. And if you have somebody coming up that's getting married, you should really read about that wedding.
Yeah.
Because it was impressive.
Yeah, it sounded like
Impressive.
what would be an extremely beautiful and unique wedding without having to run you an ungodly amount of money to
They
make
were
it happen.
married on a little hill with the apple orchard down below that you could see, and they had a big white tent, and it was catered. It was just a beautiful wedding. And then they were married on a deck that her new husband had built, and that deck now sits on their home.
Right.
And they
so they
designed it
transported
like
the
that.
deck from the orchard and made it a part of their house. Is that?
I would never have thought of something
Yeah.
like that. But
Yeah, no kidding.
so many things that I have experienced, and I wanted other people to experience them in this book.
Yeah. Well, there's just wonderful ideas in there to make life a little bit more, have a little more substance going on in life, and revolving around some of these fantastic recipes and great food. The apple cake sounded delicious.
It is wonderful.
And it didn't seem like it was a real stretch, like somebody who's maybe not, with a culinary background. So there's a lot of recipes in here. It sounds like if you know your way around a home kitchen, you can make these recipes.
I'm glad you picked
happen.
up on that. That cake is actually easy to make, and the event baker that made it was a 7-layer wedding cake. But in the book, she did the recipe so that people could make it at home in their regular kitchen.
Right. Now, so you were writing a food column and for over a decade.
10 years as the food columnist, which I have to say became popular because I made it interactive between the reader.
Right.
That's where it became more than just a recipe, because the readers started writing me, and all of their letters and notes I would put in the bottom of my column so that everybody read what everybody was writing and interested in, and their feedback and their questions and their requests.
Right.
And that just grew and grew.
Yeah, it really was eye-opening for me. I didn't realize, what a vast number of food enthusiasts there are out there, and they're very passionate about wanting to know.
One whole chapter is on the readers
Yeah.
and what they did for me. I think I learned more from them than they learned from me.
And I should point out that you share a lot of the letters and comments from your readers in this book.
There are many in there.
Yeah, there's some just great stuff. And let's see, you got as I recall, you got the red ribbon in the macaroni and cheese.
Oh my goodness, what a
bake-off,
good
right?
memory.
And the winner wasn't really macaroni and cheese, right? There was beef sausage in there. Wasn't that what?
You read it.
Right?
You read the book.
So you got cheated on that one. You should have got the blue ribbon.
Actually, if you read one of the comments, one of the readers' husband actually said that.
Yeah,
the
she
same
never
thing.
said that she got cheated. I don't want to make it sound like that. She was very happy with the red ribbon, but one of her readers did comment that that was just unfair because when you add beef sausage, it is no longer macaroni and cheese. It's macaroni and cheese supreme or something like that, right?
I'm impressed.
But it sounded delicious. I'm sure it deserved the blue ribbon.
But see how the readers got involved.
Yeah.
And I think I made this more human. It's not just recipes like from appetizer to dessert. It's just human.
Right.
And I think that's what I'm trying to get through, and I hope comes through in my book.
Oh, absolutely. I felt very comfortable reading the book, like I was at home reading it. It was, like being around family. Very nice.
Thank you for saying that.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
I'm trying not to say fabulous. I'll interject this here because I realized on the last show, I counted when I was editing it how many times I said fabulous. And it isn't because things are not fabulous, because they are. In fact, this whole show is just one fabulous thing after another. Anyway, back to the interview. And I knew I was really enjoying this book, but I also knew that it was a fabulous book because my son was enjoying it too. And there's very few things that he'll actually sit, be calm for a little while. He's just right between 4 and 6 months, so he's ready to, yeah. But he enjoyed being read to out of this book. That's how I got a lot of it done. So I'm trying to collect myself and think about some of the other questions that I had for you. Pat may be able to help me out. I decided to forego the the written question sheet. I usually have that with me because I wanted a little spontaneity. This is spontaneity. So, do you have any further endeavors, any future projects that you're working on? Or?
No further projects.
No?
No.
And are you retired from writing?
It took 19 months to write that, and then more to publish it. So and then 10 years really developing it. But I wanted to just put something for my family and just do something different. Yeah.
Well, I think I would strongly encourage you folks to take a good look at this book and pick up a copy. I don't know how many we have out there in the lobby, but if you're at all, and that's what I was going to say is that it's not just sort of down home American cooking. I mean, you've got some very exotic Thai food recipes in here, and I'm a huge fan of Thai food. I love it, so I can't wait to try out some of the Thai food. That was sort of early on in the book too.
Pad Thai is one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
And the girl that gave me that recipe, she's a champion at making it.
Oh, okay.
And there's
a soup as well, a Thai soup in there.
And that's wonderful.
Yeah. It sounded fabulous.
It is.
And you actually went to the trouble of talking about substitute ingredients that you can use if you can't get to a Chinese market.
Exactly.
And you can use American ingredients as a substitute for some of those
Because I
things.
never thought I could make that, and I ended up making it. And I had that in a restaurant in Colorado in Telluride, and the owner gave me her cookbook and signed, and she taught me how to make that and be able to get the ingredients if we substitute.
Right, yeah.
So it's a wonderful chicken and shrimp and
That's right.
Coconut
milk
in a curry sauce.
Yeah.
A curry soup.
And there was a
delicious.
kefir leaf, was it called? Or
Kiffer, I think.
Yeah, and you can substitute that with something
Yes.
else. And the lemongrass you can substitute
lemongrass.
with lemon zest a little bit if you need to do that. And,
You will have to make that pad thai.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to.
Good.
Yes, indeed. Well, I think I could go on and on about food. I'm getting hungry. I'm trying to think if I've eaten enough today. I don't think I have. But ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you stop in and say hello to Pat as you're in the lobby for the meet and greet, and take a look at her book. Consider taking it home. Great recipes, a really fun read, and just you feel like you're part of the family. So thank you for sharing. Ladies and gentlemen, Pat Jackman, Altomare.